Thanks for checking out another clip of the Cashflow Contractor. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. Click subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
We're talking about the change formula governs whether or not you will change.
Right.
But it also governs whether or not your employees will change and your family will change and your kids will do things. But it's also the sales formula. If you're approaching a customer and you're thinking, oh my gosh, I got to make a sale, you're going to fail a lot and you're going to feel like crap.
Yeah.
If you matter of fact, I've got a guy out right now and his coaching assignment is bring me 5 things the next person you talk to is unhappy about. Write them down and bring them to me and bring me 5 things they want. And that means his effort in the sales call is going to be to fulfill that assignment is to find 5 things that guy said he doesn't want. That's not always easy, but that's the assignment. 5 things he does want, bring that to me. So that's the sales formula. If you don't know those things, you're not going to sell them anything. Or if you do sell them, it'll be one of those deals where they get mad they bought it, right? So
Yeah.
Anyway, everybody responds to one of those 2 things. That's one of the things. The idea that we talked about early on is interesting. People will do more to avoid pain than they will to gather pleasure.
Okay.
That's a good thing to know because when you're looking for the dissatisfaction times the vision, there's more power to the dissatisfaction.
Yeah. And I think that's really helpful because I think at the end of the day, it's all framing it. It's all perspective. Rather than setting your goals around a pleasure or something in the future, something that's hopeful, reframe it to where it's actually like there's a dissatisfaction in the goal, right?
Yeah.
Like get rid of this rather than attain this, right? I'm trying to think of an example, but like instead of, hey, I want to get to, I want to double my revenue. You could set it as like, I got to get out of this shop.
Right.
Like this shop is terrible. We've got to get out of this shop. And in order to do that, we have to double our revenue to be able to afford the next, higher square footage or whatever it is. So the pain is that we're crammed in this shop and this shop is the problem. And if you frame it that way, then you can leverage the fact that dissatisfaction is greater than vision.
Right.
And so obviously you don't want to become a Scrooge and
No,
always
it's
be negative,
what
but
motivates you.
yeah, if you can use the motivation to your benefit.
Right. And that's kind of the second thing, or maybe I already said it. Perception is reality. In other words, the negative, it doesn't, man, I read a deal called, I can't remember. It's a book was in the Wall Street Journal and a friend sent it to me. I haven't read the book, but I can't remember the name, but it's How to Live a Long, Healthy Life, right?
Okay.
And it really came down to 3 things. They did all these studies on medications and BMIs and all this stuff. But people who live a long time tend to be on the thinner side. And that doesn't mean thin, but they're not exceedingly heavy.
Yeah.
They're going to be over. There's nobody in the U.S. that's not overweight. If you look at, actually there are, but I've never met one. No, but you tend to be on the thinner side. The second thing is they tend to do some type of regular exercise. Okay, doesn't say they kill themselves or anything like that. But the third, and I think one of the most powerful is they tend to be optimistic. Okay, and I talk with my wife about this all the time. I'm a little bit of a scarcity mindset guy. I mean, I hate to admit that, but it's the truth. But I'm just kind of like, oh man, what if it doesn't work? Or man, what if they don't come in? Or what if so-and-so quit? Or what if I lose all my clients, right? And I have to pull myself out of that. And my wife is really good at it because I might have said it before, but she goes, wham, 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 wham. If I'm going on, she does that. And I go, that's magnificent that she does that. My perception, you can change it in a nanosecond. Just change it. It's easy to say, and I don't know what the mechanisms are in the brain, if they're nerves that got to grow different directions or fuse together or whatever, But you can just go, I am not going to look at this and say this is a crappy day. I'm going to look at it going, man, I got another day. I'm going to call 4 people and somebody's going to buy from me.
I think the reality is that you can have an abundance mindset. It's much easier to have an abundance mindset with someone else than it is with yourself.
Yes, I do that every day, all day long.
You're coaching people and you're saying, you can do this, man. Like, this is great. And then internally you're like, I'm struggling. I can't make it. Yeah. It's way easier to be positive for somebody else than it is for yourself.
Yeah.
And a really good exercise for that is, what advice would you give if you were somebody else, if you were talking to yourself from the outside, what advice would you give to yourself?
Yeah.
Right. Because then you can approach that with the mindset.
Yeah. And I don't want to leave everybody with the perception that I'm bummed out all the time. But I tell you, but over the years with companies and things, there have been times that, I'll give you an example. And this is almost embarrassing, but it's an example. We've helped start 8 companies, and you know my history.
Yeah.
2 of them failed, sold 4 of them, still have 2. There are investment opportunities that I had starting in the early 80s that I could have taken advantage of that would just stagger people today. And I didn't do them. I mean, I did some, but I didn't do what I could have done because I thought, because all my companies, I started them or reorganized them were kind of I always thought, what if I don't get a paycheck next week? And I think I've talked about this on the podcast or next month or whatever. So I better not oblige myself to keeping this house when I move. I better sell it. You know how many paychecks I missed over the last 51 years? That's right. He's 0.0. And that is tangible evidence, tangible results of having a negative mindset for a long time. And as I say, it's a little bit embarrassing. Hopefully it helps somebody, but it's embarrassing to admit that.
No,
but being aware of it is one way. Yeah, being aware that you're doing that yourself is one way that you overcome it. You can't overcome it if you deny that you're doing it.
Yeah, for sure.
Thanks for checking out a clip from the Cashflow Contractor. We have full episodes where we go deep on topics that help you grow a construction business that runs without you, so you can have less stress, more time, more money. Now, we've got other videos, other clips, but if you want to check out the full episode for this clip, you can click wherever our editor put it. It might be here, it might be there, it might be over my face, I don't know. But thank you for checking us out. We'd love to have you as a part of our audience. So subscribe or check out a full episode wherever you get podcasts.